A strong country has a strong navy. It was true in the 19th century and it is still true today. Confident countries look beyond their borders. They explore new frontiers. And that is when they meet the sea. What about India? Is India ready for her maritime date? The government certainly thinks so. Today's open debate at the United Nations Security Council signals that intent. India is not going to observe from the shores. It wants a larger stake in maritime security. And don't mistake this for policing the seas. That's what Britain did in the 19th century. That's what China is trying to do in the Indo-Pacific. But maritime security is not about ruling the waves. It's a lot more complicated. Issues like marine environment, piracy, economic development, marine pollution, illegal fishing, they're all part of maritime security. It's not just about deploying battleships, though we'll get to that in a bit. So how does India figure in this debate? Maritime security was never a buzzword here. India's concerns were more traditional. So what changed? For starters, India is now at the high table. It is part of global alliances like the Quad. That brings additional responsibility and additional power. Secondly, there's a difference between having a stake and asserting it. India has a coastline of more than 7,500 kilometers. It's a massive peninsula. So New Delhi always had a role in maritime security. Today, that role has been asserted. And India has every reason to assert it. We are talking about one of the oldest seafarers in the world with a maritime history that dates back to 3000 BC. This was during the Indus Valley civilization. Let me give you an example. This is the dry dock of Lothal in present-day Gujarat. It dates back to 2400 BC, the first ever facility that could berth and service ships. This maritime tradition was mostly financial. India used ships to trade with the world, not to conquer it. And even today, New Delhi rejects maritime expansionism. It sees the ocean as a means of progress, not politics and war, which is why the Indian Ocean was relatively peaceful right up to the 13th century. Today, of course, the considerations have changed. Oceans are being turned into battlegrounds, fishing boats are doubling up as warships, and countries are drawing up their own maritime boundaries. In that context, India has recalibrated its strategy. Not through blatant aggression, but through diplomacy. India realizes there is a maritime race that is underway, and today the Prime Minister tried to set the ground rules, like settling maritime disputes using existing laws and removing barriers to trade. These were clear warnings to China, and listening to these warnings were a few important world leaders, chief among them President Vladimir Putin of Russia, Secretary Antony Blinken of the United States, and Prime Minister Pham Minh Chinh of Vietnam. Two of them are Pacific nations, the US and Vietnam. Both of them are vocal critics of China. The other is a tricky partner. Back when Russia was the Soviet Union, it was actively engaged in the Indo-Pacific. India must try and revive Russian interests in the region. And this is a win-win for both the countries. Let me tell you why. Russia is planning to create a new trade route through the Arctic. Guess who is also eyeing this new route? China. They call it the Polar Silk Route. So establishing a maritime precedent will be in Russia's interest. But convincing them will be a hard task for India. The power plays don't end there. China's plan is to kill Indo-Pacific cooperation, keep the Quad separated, keep the Europeans away from the South China Sea. So India is playing matchmaker. Today's UNSC debate was not a seminar on maritime security. It was a playbook on maritime cooperation. And there is enough incentive for every country to join here. As I said at the start, this isn't just about battleships. There is money at stake here. Take the Indo-Pacific, for instance. It includes 38 countries, 44% of the Earth's surface area, 62% of global GDP, more than 50% of global trade. For India, this is a huge opportunity. It has a trade surplus with 9 Indo-Pacific nations. Bilateral trade has gone from $33 billion in 2001 to $262 billion in 2020. So for India, this is not just about arm wrestling China, it's about the larger picture. It's about free, safe and inclusive navigation. Prime Minister Modi, in fact, first talked about it in 2015. He called it the Sagar Initiative. What is Sagar? Security and growth for all in the region, SAGAR. As part of this policy, the Indian Navy has assisted countries in tackling piracy, search and rescue, disaster relief. In May 2020, India shipped 600 tons of food to Mauritius, the Maldives, Madagascar, Comoros and Seychelles. They're all countries in the Indian Ocean, not the Indo-Pacific, which again signals India's broad agenda. Unlike Japan, Australia and the US, India's interests are not limited to the Pacific region. The other side of the peninsula is equally important for New Delhi. This is what sets the Indian maritime policy apart. It is more holistic. It talks about piracy, trade, marine pollution. It has the potential to bring more countries on board. So let me end by saying this. America's rallying call was for a free and open Indo-Pacific. Today, it's about a free, open and inclusive Indo-Pacific. That cooperative attitude could be the key to beating China. WION is now available in your country. Download the app now and get all the news on the move.